Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here today with another flip through from my Artists Sample Book Journal series. There are 4 of these books that I've completed in total. If you didn't see the volume 3 video, you may want to watch it to just get a few extra details. I'll try to put them in and be concise at the same time. But anyways, this is volume 4. It is 8 signatures. It's a nice chunky book, and I do describe in the last video that this is a journal that is about being an artist's studio sampler book. So it's a sampling of things from my studio. That's also representative, I think, of what a lot of artists have in their studios. And yeah, let's just jump on into it. So the covers of these books are all the same. They're from a vintage DIY, Popular Mechanics book, like encyclopedia collection. So on the cover, I start with this embossed antique ledger from the 1800s that I have painted with metallic paints and then embossed. And we have some vintage stamps. I've stitched on a fabric sample here, and there are 2 of my ceramic handmade buttons there. We have a little label plate down here that is bradded into the book. This is a piece of driftwood that has been bradded on with 2 long brads. This is a fun found object. It's actually linoleum, probably from like the 1960s, that I found washed up on the beach in Newfoundland, and so it could really be from anywhere. So this book spine is my eco printed fabric with acrylic swatches, and it carries over to the back of the book quite far. And then I have this spine dangle, which is eyeletted in. It is not removable, and it has all sorts of fun things from my studio. So we have handmade wooden buttons, beads, little findings from toys, paper buttons, a vintage key from Cole National, a wooden cog. This is from a tap. We have Barbie hands, vintage floral beads, shashi mirror felt bead, my handmade measuring tape beads, this leafy cutout, a little crocheted flower. Yeah, all sorts of things going on there, and those are all on waxed linen. So that being said, let's open up this book and take a look. This is some vintage bias tape that I've used on this one to close it in like a chestnut brown color. So these books all have kind of similar, opening splash. So there are alcohol ink dyed papers with a pocket on the end paper on this side. Here I've used a little Stamperia yellow paint tube sticker to just embellish that pocket a bit, and bits and bobs. These digitals, you'll see these throughout my journal series. This is a digital collection I'm working on. These are some little painty kind of fun journal cards, and then a little book page swatch that you can use to embellish with. So those all just hang out in this front pocket. There. Then I'm opening these books in a way that I love to do with a vintage photo. This is a really beautiful photo. It's an original from a photo album that I got of photos from like the 1930s through 50s, and this beautiful woman sitting here in front of this very ornate fireplace. And this says, "Drawing is a mystical activity." You may see a few of those kind of quotes through the book. They are from, they're harvested from a book of sketchbook artists, like their quotes about what sketching and drawing and sketchbook and journal creation means to them. And then all these little bits, as I mentioned, are from a digital I'm working on. We see the paintbrushes back here. This is a collage journal card that I made on some of my digital ledger, my vintage watercolor ledger collection. Sorry, words are hard today. That's in my Etsy shop. You'll see May of 1862. This has some Spectrum gardenia from 49 and Market. That's a floral laser cut collection. This is a pocket that was made from a 1970s wool felt sample from an estate that I purchased from a woman. And this is a tag that is like an artist's playlist. I made it as part of Junk Journal July, and you'll see all of these bits in the back. These are all my illustration, and then these are the playlist parts. This is a sampling of my fabric clusters. So this one is on a woven fabric, and we have a floral transfer, and then this is an embroidered stitched cluster. It's on hand-dyed paper. You'll see lots of samples of my hand-dyed paper throughout these books. 49 and Market Spectrum paper I've used because it's very nice art studio kind of paper. This little catalog of artist materials and architect supplies pocket, and it's on a book page that I did watercolor swatch sampling from Beam Paints. Throughout this series of journals, I've used pages from a book called How to Be an Explorer of the World, and it has sort of like artsy activities that you can do out in the environment. So this is a piece of stationery I created for the book from that. Light. Collect objects based on how they reflect light. List the different qualities such as reflective, translucent, refracting, mottled, etc. Try to collect 30 objects. So it gives you kind of some inspiring, fun little activities. I think that's a part of all art studios and artists' worlds where we're just always looking for things to kind of kick us off on our next project. So this is a painty, inky, fun, iridescent page that I cut into a pocket, added one of my watercolor bits there. And then this is a collage tag with some, master's art on it. And we have an easel in the background. I've stitched a sunflower up here, a la Van Gogh. This is some Spectrum paper from 49 and Market. This is a sampling coffee dyed paper of my hand painted washi tapes. This is the original spine of the book. I made a belly band out of it. It's the Illustrated Do-It-Yourself Encyclopedia, Popular Science Edition, Volume 2. On this Art Academy digital paper. This is an authentic vintage postcard, and I made it into a flip by adding some eco-printed yellow paper, so there'd be writing space on this ephemera. And then I added some of my little bits and bobs that I've been illustrating for a digital collection on art supplies. This is a lovely digital artsy paper. I completely forget where some of these digitals came from because I just kind of picked and scooped from different things in my digital collection, which is admittedly very badly organized. This is a little fresco colors pocket with this little journal card of these swatches, coffee dyed paper with my sampling of hand painted washi tapes. Then this is a pocket that says, creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else ever thought. A quote from Albert Einstein. And in here we have this double tag that's been painted on a fun folder, and you'll see some swatching under there. And this was from when I was doing grunge box inking and stuff, playing with mixed media, and I just made a really fun artsy piece with that. And over here we have this pocket, more swatches back here from Beam Paints and Paint Tube. And then this is a journal card. More of the Spectrum gardenia and cabbage dyed papers, and more of my fabric clusters. Another little watercolor collection digital there, and then another of the vintage postcards done in the same way with these fun little bits here. And this is a belly band. You see the ends of the paint brushes there. It goes right into the belly band. Anything can be a starting place. Begin where you are. Is that too vague? Okay, then turn the page. And then there's this little list that you can write on. This is a sampler of my stitches from my sewing machine. Then we have this pocket, and we have painty paintbrushes back there. And this journal card is actually Josie Lewis's art. It's from sort of some paper goods that I thrifted. Probably they were sent in a package with some of her original art to whomever donated them. This is a sampling on black paper of this color shifting watercolor paint, and it is just beautiful. Hopefully you can see the colors shifting there. I know it can be hard on camera. This little corner tuck pocket with chalks and pencil crayons back here, and this is a hand painted tag with swatching of some fun paints. This says beauty is the soul of things, and that's a Stamperia Atelier des Arts sticker. This is an original ledger paper. These are from 1933, this page, and I did swatching of watercolors on there. And just some beautiful artsy digitals. The other side of this beautiful page, so the back side I left it alone with just the original writing on it from 1933, and then this side is where I did my swatching, and that just folds out. Another little digital collection piece of my artsy stuff, and then a little pocket made from vintage ledger that's been watercolor swatched. That collection's in my Etsy shop. You see all these pencil crayons back here, and then this was a fun paper that I found at my local scrapbook store. I just wanted to make a tag with it. More black paper, and then on this side we have more swatching of color shifting watercolor metallics. Another little snip from my digital collection in progress with these little swatches and some big thick paintbrushes. And then this is a piece of stationery from Stamperia's Atelier des Arts collection. More stitching samples from my sewing machine on coffee dyed paper. Another page from Explorer of the World. Collect items you fancy, and that for different reasons attract your attention. Remember also to collect and study things that seem for the moment to be meaningless or irrelevant. The twists and turns of the creative process lead you back to an important encounter that at first seemed quite neutral, or even something that made you feel repelled or exasperated. Maya Ratke. And over here we have methods of investigation. Our perception of things can be altered simply by the angle we choose to look at something. So I won't read the whole thing, but there's an activity there. And this one I've done just as a fun little fold out with like a little bit of a ruffle to it. Then on this 49 and Market paper, this little pocket of paintbrushes are illustrated by me. This is a little tag I made from my vintage watercolor ledger collection. This is part of the digital that I'm working on of these art supplies. That is like a fold out sort of double journal card booklet, and then we have pencil crayons back here and bullet page paper there. And then I will put this back, then recenter myself because I see I'm squeaking over that way. This is a sampling of the stamps in my collection. And we have a little flip out kind of pocket here. This has a Stamperia paint tube sticker, and this is 49 and Market Spectrum Gardenia with those beautiful butterflies. And we have some gold back here and pretty pink colors. In the pocket is this file folder, Don't Wait for Inspiration. It comes while working, Henri Matisse. And this is, I believe, from Graphics Fairy. And this is from Release the Craftin. It is one of her really cool swatch quote digitals. A quote from John Latouche: "A fat pink cloud hangs over the hill, unfolding like a rose. If you hold my hand and sit real still, you can hear the grass as it grows." And of course, it's the pink swatches. She has a whole digital of beautiful, all the colors with the poetry, and it's beautiful. Then this is one of my little illustrations for the digital I'm working on. This is a sampling of my commercial paint swatches, and I added another little sampling of stamps that I have in my collection. And then it kind of works like a little slot, you know, like it's like a little fun way of keeping a journal card. And this is from a book. It's just this, you know, vintage lady artist working outside on an easel painting this mountainside, and it's a journal card. and it's on my hand dyed paper. Over here we have some bits of fabric washi tape from 49 and Market's Spectrum collection. Then we have another of those little quotes. I hate to finish a book. It's got so much of my life in it. And this is collage with some book spine and a little bit of my digital. And then these paint pots back here. And then this was a tag that I made from just some cardboard painty paper that I made with iridescent and beautiful paints. And then just this lovely swatchy landscape here. This is a collaged pocket with some of my wax paper that I did mixed media on and a little sketchbook page. This is a sampling of beam paints. They're beautiful little cedar paint pots, and these are like really beautiful colors. This one is a blue, but it has a gold in the background, and it's on a vintage general science kind of book page that I thought was fun, because I think that's also very much speaks to the kinds of things that are in a junk journal artist studio, is old science and botany kind of stuff. Then we have a little paintbrush here from my collection and more of that washi. Another of those paint, commercial paint sample bits here with the stamps. And then in here we have, this is from Stamperia's Atelier des Arts collection. It's a piece of stationery for writing on. And then another of my little ledger watercolors. Just some nice artsy paper and a zinc white tube of paint. This is the other side of that selection of the stamps in my collection, and bullet paper. This is a belly band made from my watercolor ledger swatch collection, and you see the pencil crayons back there. This is a Georges Seurat pointillist snippet of his painting. 49 and Market Spectrum paper, and then this is the center signature. So this is a sampling of all of my different hand-dyed papers that are in my studio right now, and it's like a Roy G. Biv. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and you'll see little bits of that 49 and Market swatchy fabric washi tape. Pink, more washi tape, just fun color in those papers. This little pocket has some gold splotches, and there's some bits from the digital I'm working on. It's on the 49 and Market paper. This was a mixed media paper project that I did. Just really fun, and I wanted to create like a little piece of art as a big journaling card. It is bradded onto the folder there. This is 49 and Market paper that I just had to leave alone because it's too pretty. This is a sampling of quotes that are from a heritage book that I have in my studio. It's a vintage book by Edna McCann. I have a whole collection of her books from like the 70s to the 90s where she wrote like essentially like a daily journal and then published it, but it had a lot of quotes in it, and she had us a knack for finding great quotes. Never fear shadows. They simply mean there's a light shining somewhere nearby. Ruth Rankel. So lots of good things like that. It's on coffee dyed paper. This is a pocket that says don't wait for inspiration. It comes while working. Henri Matisse. And we have this little swatchy watercolor tray behind. And then this is, of course, the Scream. So I have included from art books like, you know, master's works here and there and played with them a bit. I did a selection of stamps up here from my collection, as well as a quote. I try to be the Johnny Appleseed of sketchbooks. I'll show them to anyone with an interest. And that just tucks in here. And then a sampling of my stickers from my studio. A little color wheel. A Munsell Color System Atlas. More coffee dyed paper and another sticker sampling. This is another of the digital paint tray pages. And then this is a journal card that I made. This is my own botanical digitals that I'm playing with right now. And some of my mixed media parchment paper. And I've made them like little swatches of the work on the journal card. Coffee dyed paper, more of those quotes, and I've added like things that I've made for like collage fodder, different little bits and bobs that are from this big book of like my fodder that I use in ephemera making. So it's kind of another way of doing a sample. The quickest way to make yourself feel better is to help someone who feels worse. More 49 in market paper and a little collage pocket down here with one of my little swatches. A work of art which did not begin in emotion is not art, from Cezanne. A little folder to write on there. That's from the Graphics Fairy. And a little sampling of my stamps on coffee dyed paper. This is attached with a rusted paper clip. So we have underneath those chalky paint pots, and then this is from the 1970s. It is from an estate that I purchased from this weaver, and it's just a yarn sample. And I like that up here you see like this is a high quality all botany wool yarn, and it was from a shop that existed in the 70s called Botany Wool. It's no longer open, but pretty cool. And then this is like a little March calendar kind of folder. It's made from cardstock. There's a little liquid Indian ink and a little paintbrush there from my collection. And then it's a pocket over here for this. Creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else ever thought. Albert Einstein. A little journal card folder there that just tucks into that pocket. And this is on some paper from the same estate from like the 70s. So this was from a woman who was in the executive of the Toronto Weavers Guild in the 70s, and she collected all sorts of amazing samples from all over the world of yarns. So this is one here on the original order paper, more 49 in market paper. This is a mixed media page that I did that had the theme very vintage. It has a sampling of vintage photos, 1960. This is a little kid holding a teddy bear, and inside it, I made it into a pocket. We have a place to glue found objects, and it has this table on the back. The center page. I really love how the paper turned out. More of the vintage photos from 1960. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, Leonardo da Vinci. Another 49 in market paper. This is another of those yarn samples, and this is like held on with a rusted paper clip. It's just an over the page kind of journal card that I made recently for a patchwork collection that I was doing for Patreon. And here are some fun washi tape bits. Those are just artsy and fun, so I decided to add them. So I'll just pop that back up here. There we go. That's bullet journal paper. Over here, this is from a book about how to paint different features for, doing portraits. So this is about how to create eye colors. It's like swatching for eye colors. We have those paint pots underneath, and then this is a journal card that I made from the art studio book that I used a little bit throughout here. So it shows a workspace, and I added some of this fabric washi tape with swatching. Coffee dyed paper with another stamp sampling. Just kind of get recentered here. I tend to wiggle around when I'm doing these flip throughs. So this is a waffle flower stamp that allows you to swatch and write notes. And these are acrylic paints that are iridescent. They're from Artisan. This is like a clustery pocket of things, my original painting on Antique Ledger, some other swatches. These are some of my digitals, just a little cluster on this fun digital page. And then this little tag here. Lined paper. This is a sampling of the fabrics in my studio that I've stitched onto coffee dyed paper, and I've left the stitching visible here because I felt like it made a funky lined paper. This little landscape painting is a pocket that has this Pablo Picasso quote. This is from a Release the Craft in. Some painters transform the sun into a yellow spot. Others transform a yellow spot into the sun. And then another page from the Explorer of the World book about the different tools that you have when you're an explorer of the world. A list of things to document and collect. One of my digitals, this is from the watercolor ledger collection on Etsy, and a couple little bits glued down of a brush and some colors. Round things. Life is a scavenger hunt. More 49 in Market and stitched page. Fabric sample. Another of those fun paint chalk palette pages. This is a collaged pocket with some original book page from a fairy book, and I've done some swatching. It says, "It is the ugly things that teach us that are the backbone of all the beauty we may one day make." And then this is an illustration from an art book that I just made a journal card from. And the other side of that waffle flower stamping with those fun paints. This is a fiber sample card, also from the 70s, with some of my watercolors. Sorry for the little snip, I just had to change batteries. So as I was saying, my little digital bits. And then inside the pocket, we have another page from the Explorer of the World. When I'm working with a material, it's not just the stone that I'm trying to understand, not a single isolated object, but nature as a whole, how the leaf has grown, how it has changed, how it has decayed, how the weather is affected by it. Working with a leaf in its place, I begin to understand these processes. Andy Goldsworthy. In the back here, Exploration 32, World of Magic. Collect objects for their potential magic quality, attach a story to them, or create a fictitious history about the object. Magic pine cone, when planted, grows a tree that causes all who sit under it to fall asleep and have vivid dreams. You know, isn't that just a great prompt if you were writing short stories or even a book? Just a really great prompt. Okay, then this lovely paper. This is from my watercolor ledger collection on Etsy, and I've added this lovely little Spectrum Gardenia floral. It's a whole collection from 49 in Market of laser cut the whole rainbow of florals. And then this is a sampling of the tabs in my studio on coffee dyed paper. Another Explorer of the World page. There is no correct way of understanding anything. Even though the world wants us to believe this, it's not true. And then it goes into that a little bit more, and some fun images from that book. This is just like a Rorschach style painting. Then this is from my ledger collection, and this is the little drawings that I'm doing for a digital I'm working on. And then I have another Release the Craft in swatch quote card. Ram Charan, the sky takes on shades of orange during sunrise and sunset, the color that gives you hope that the sun will set only to rise again. And then another little page here. This is from 49 in Market, this paper, and I made from my digital watercolor ledger, that pocket. And then this is the stuff I'm working on right now. I made a little journal card out of those. And then over here, same kind of thing. These are all from the collection I'm working on right now. So this is a little journal card and the pocket. More of my watercolor ledger and the Rorschach painting. Observe, collect, analyze, compare, notice patterns. When I look closely at the work of all my favorite artists and designers, I notice they all have one thing in common. They are collectors. This tendency to collect and document is similar to the work of an ethnographer. Ethnography, the documentation and analysis of a particular culture through field research. Another page of the tabs in my studio, a little sampling. And another watercolor swatch page with the floral. And over here is a painty page that I painted with fun acrylics. And we have these paint pots behind, and then this is a paper from 49 and Market. And it's just lovely Japanese plants and writing. It's like almost like a rice paper. It's very thin and nice to write on. So that tucks in there. And then we've reached the end of the journals. So again, I've dated and signed it. I've done a nice Studioloo wax seal there with these little sparklies and the alcohol ink paper. So that is the end of volume number 4. There will be 2 more videos, 2 more books after this one. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.